All of our productions at GCTV are sponsored in part by Bay State Health, providing the care you and your family need when you need it close to home. Visit them online at baystatehealth.org. Greenfield Savings Bank. Visit them at 400 Main Street in Greenfield. Call them at 774-3191 or go online to greenfieldsavings.com. Greenfield Community College, providing access and excellence in higher education in the Pioneer Valley. Visit them at gcc.mass.edu. The Hammond Family. The Hammond family are longtime supporters of Greenfield Community Television. New Fortune Chinese Restaurant on the Mohawk Trail in Greenfield. Visit them online at newfortunema.com. Call them at 772-0838 and check them out on Facebook. Real Cleaning Services, cleaning Hampshire and Franklin County since 1972. We don't cut corners, we clean them. Check them out online at realclean.com. Call them at 413-422-1143. People's United Bank, located at 45 Federal Street in Greenfield. You can call them at 774-3713 or visit them online at peoples.com. The Solar Store of Greenfield, replacing fossil fuels and nuclear power one home at a time. Visit them at 23 Fisk Ave. Call them at 413-772-3122 or visit them online at solarstoreofgreenfield.com. Thank you to our sponsors for supporting all of GCTV's productions.
This is collaboration at work here in Greenfield. We're going to come together and ask the truth. All right, so together. One, two, three.
Yeah, there you go.
Good morning, everyone. We didn't get snow like we did at the funding announcement, so that was good. Thank you for that. But it's a little chilly. All right. The mayor wanted to be here. Is that louder? Yes. Thank you. The mayor wanted to be here. Everyone who's worked with him has known that he has worked on this project long and hard. There are thousands of emails, hundreds of meetings, late night moments where you get a note from him that says, hey, have you thought about this? Unfortunately, he had a death in the family, so he will not be here. But I'm going to relay some notes from him, some thank yous. Many, many thank yous. A large project like this does not occur without a close relationship between the state and the city. The Baker administration, Senator Rosenberg, Representative Mark, and Secretary Ash provided the guidance and leadership to help us realize this project. The city is appreciative for both the monetary assistance and for the Baker administration's ability to see the same vision for the exciting future of downtown Greenfield. This project began long before the first piece of concrete was laid. This garage and the adjoining pocket park, recognizing local scientific events, were made possible by citizens with entrepreneurial ideas and those who dedicated the time and energy to moving those ideas forward. Much of the impetus for the parking garage location followed from the recommendation of local citizen Michael Ballou, whose foresight over a decade ago helped move this concept forward. And of course, woohoo! And of course, yeah, there were many, many planning board meetings, volunteer commissions, additional board meetings, staff meetings, the Planning Board, the Historic Commission, Planning and Construction Committee, Parking and Traffic Commission, and Marcia Starkey, who's no longer with us, a member of the Historical Commission, was instrumental in two details that connect this modern garage to the history of Greenfield. First, the bas-reliefs, which many of you saw in the staircase, originally from the Ford dealership, really shine, and they help you remember what floor you parked on. Second, the brick details from the HAPCO building that was demolished to make space for this building are echoed in the exterior of the building. The city was very lucky to compile a team of experts to help with the design and construction of the garage, and was luckier that many of them were local. None could be more local than Margot Jones and her team at Jones Whitsitt Architects. They're just up the hill. From the initial design to the attention to the smallest details, Margot and her entire team deserve praise for how nicely the garage fits with the surrounding buildings. Wes Wilson of Desmond Design Management brought his expertise on the parking garage to the city in 2010, and he's stuck with this project for over 8 years. Thank you, Wes. There you are. SVE and Tony have been with this project. They saw this project. Basically, all of the groundwork was thanks to them. So they got this project out of the ground, and that was a big deal. Skanska and the Johns, John Benzinger and John Bona, took the reins as OPM 3 years ago, working through funding requests, design changes, budget changes, and all the surprises of building in downtown Greenfield. Daniel O'Connell's sons out of Holyoke took the lead as the general contractor, and their team, including Joe Emilio, Johanna Hodges, and Pete Sickler, got this project off the paper and into the concrete. Whether moving storm drains built in the 1800s or discovering foundations from the old hotel and livery stables, we know you liked those surprises. They were up for the challenge, and they did. They had a lot of challenges. Over 20 subcontractors worked with DOC to get the job done. Daily Concrete out of Vermont crafted every precast Lego piece. And then there was this long list that I'm going to tell you. There was T&M Equipment out of Springfield, Marguerite Concrete out of Hopedale, Hayward Baker out of Middleton, Connecticut, Avid Ironworks out of Springfield, Gable Electric out of Pittsfield, Greenfield Glass out of Greenfield, Bullinger's Plumbing out of East Hampton, Bay State Elevator Company based in Dalton, Armani Restoration from Middletown, Connecticut, Warehouse Mechanical Contractors out of Chicopee, Bluebird Graphic out of Woburn, Cantarella and Sons in Pittsfield, J.D. Rivet & Co. out of Springfield, King Painting from North Andover, Irving Slavid from North Adams, Construction Services Inc. of Springfield, Commonwealth Guardrail from Westfield, Edward Cochran Plumbing and Heating in Springfield, and Hardware Specialties in Westfield. And I bet Secretary Ash has been to a few of those towns because they're out of Massachusetts. Eversource generously provided chargers for 8 electric vehicle spaces through their EV Make Ready program, providing residents with another green option for transportation. After this program, James Cater over there will offer demonstrations of the charger and your awesome electric vehicle. In addition, Eversource provided the town a $10,000 energy efficiency incentive for the energy efficient lighting installed throughout the garage, proving it pays to keep the green in Greenfield. Throughout the project, town employees stepped up to help keep costs down and provide innovative solutions for problems. The Greenfield Technology Department with Fernando Fleury, Central Maintenance with George Vandelinder, the Department of Public Works, including Alan Torog and Paul Raskovitz, Carol Collins in Energy and Sustainability, and many, many other employees helped. GSET is providing internet connection to run all of the cameras, all of the payment information, all of that. Woohoo! Mark Smith in the mayor's office and the finance team worked hard to get the bills paid and keep everyone happy. And as if a parking garage was not enough, the mayor took the opportunity to make a small park out of a space that would otherwise just be a pass-through. The Pocket Park recognizes local scientific events, the discovery of dinosaur tracks, and modernizing beekeeping. Sandy Thomas took the mayor's charge on this, and under her guidance, it was turned into a truly special place. So with all of those thank yous, we're passing it along to Margot to speak and say a few words.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. So I'm going to keep it very short because there are a few politicians coming up that that are better at speeches than me. Oh, okay. But you're better at speeches than me, I know that. So I came to Greenfield 36 years ago or 40 years ago because I love the downtown and the historic fabric of this area, especially Greenfield. And I'm so grateful to be here today with this final effort, mostly completed, not totally, but that actually gives you fabulous views of the downtown and will, over many years, help strengthen the downtown and bring people in. So it's a wonderful thing to be here and to have been part of it. And you've heard all the thank yous, but I really especially want to thank Wes Wilson from Desmond Design. They're the structural engineers. And Wes called me 9.5 years ago and said, "You want to work on a garage?" And I talked it over with my partners and we went, "Garage?" But it was downtown. It had to do with historic stuff, and so we said yes, and it's been a wonderful learning experience. Really, we've learned so much about concrete and lighting of bas-reliefs and preserving them. And I also want to thank my staff, because this is totally a team effort. And Christian is here in the back. Christian and Henry Albin, Christian Whitsitt and Henry Albin were the point people from my firm, and they've put in the hard work day by day. So also there was Irving Slavid, was the person who restored the bas-reliefs and really did a fabulous job with that. We're glad they're lit well and showcased the way they are. So. All right, well, we hope you enjoy it. Bring your friends downtown, learn how to park here, and thanks very much.
Yep, go ahead.
Well, good morning. My name is Fred Venn with the Benesky Museum of Natural History at Amherst College, but my connection with Greenfield goes back quite a long ways. I mean, I started by working at the YMCA over there back in the early 1980s with Red Sewell and Jim Allen, and tried to keep up with Joe Martino running around town, which was impossible. But it was a wonderful place to start, and it's an awful lot of fun to be able to come back. But I come back with a different hat on and literally a different tie on. We came prepared. But to keep my words to kind of a minimum, I had to write things down, otherwise I could be here for 2 hours. Transportation, citizen scientists, and Jurassic Park. What's the connection to Greenfield, Massachusetts? Let's start with transportation. In the early spring of 1835, in what was then the town of Greenfield, there was a number of town mechanics. And mechanic was a person that cut wood, that quarried stone, that hauled stone, did janitor work, and etc. These people were working to improve the transportation in downtown Greenfield, to allow goods and people to move freely, not unlike what we have going on today. The town's financial district was the focus of this work, an area we know as Bank Row. It was along the road that pavers or sidewalk stones were being installed. Many of these stones were quarried in nearby Montague City. One of the mechanics involved in the quarrying of the pavers and the installation was a 29-year-old named Dexter Marsh. It was with an eye of a citizen scientist that he noticed the stone slabs being installed as sidewalks had strange yet kind of familiar markings. Marsh, unsure of what he saw, brought these observations to the attention of someone he felt might know more and potentially have further insight. He brought it to the attention of Dr. James Dean. And at that time, Dean and Marsh and other town folk believed they saw the tracks of turkey species in the sidewalk stones. Marsh and Dean were both truly citizen scientists. Both were men that were quite brilliant. And by brilliant, I mean they knew what they knew, they knew what they didn't know, and they knew who to ask if they had a question. And in the case of in the case of Marsh, he knew to go to Dean. In the case of Dean, however, he knew that there was someone that knew more about rocks than anyone else in all of Massachusetts in 1835. And the person that would know more about rocks was the professor of geology at Amherst College, and state geologist Edward Hitchcock. So Dean made an effort to inform Hitchcock. He actually made copy casts. He took molds of the sidewalk stones. He took and created illustrations, because this was before we could go and make photography. He presented these to Hitchcock. Over time, Hitchcock took the liberty to probably acquire close to 1,200 slabs of stone and scientifically described 10,000 individual markings. The really groundbreaking research was the beginning of a new science called ichnology, the study of tracks and traces. Of particular local note are citizen scientists Dean and Marsh. During their lifetimes made significant impact in their own right. Dean continued to communicate about the local findings to the scientific community both in the United States and abroad. Additionally, Dexter Marsh recognized the value of the stones amassed, and he amassed what ended up becoming the largest collection of dinosaur trackways in the world in the small town of Greenfield. People from all over the world came to Greenfield to see these tracks. Today, we continue in the footsteps of James Dean, Edward Hitchcock, and Dexter Marsh. Scientists like Paul Olson of Columbia University and Stephen Gatesy of Brown University, working with the original specimens found in and around the city of Greenfield, have taken the study of ichnology to new levels. Their work and the work of their colleagues have led to new understandings of dinosaurs, dinosaur behaviors like swimming, flocking, maybe even playing or displaying. Dinosaur origins, like feathers, thermoregulation, the idea that dinosaurs were heat regulating, creating their own body warmth. This was a big deal, not to mention they've come to the understanding that birds, our last living dinosaurs, may have been some of the early birds that were running around here. So our turkey tracks and the birds are not that far removed. Today, using CG modeling, these researchers have extended our understanding of what may have been going on some 200 million years ago in the town of Greenfield. Finally, today, in pop culture, we see communication of Greenfield's discovery on full display in movies like Jurassic Park and in PBS programs like Dinosaur Train. It's very exciting to see the local community take part in the communication of science with the parking garage and the adjacent pocket park. I'm hopeful that the work will inspire the next generation of future citizen scientists in Greenfield. Thank you.
Wow. Good morning. What a great day to be from Greenfield, huh? Yeah. So about 40 years ago, there was a slogan that was popular throughout the valley. It went like this: think globally, act locally. That sums up why we created a pocket park. The three men that we honor today, Lorenzo Langstroth, Dexter Marsh, and James Dean, carried out that motto in real time. In the 1840s and 50s, they lived right here in the heart of downtown Greenfield. Dexter Marsh lived at the corner, like under the elevator, actually. And Lorenzo Langstroth lived in, it's now the McCarthy Funeral Home, but he was principal of the Greenfield High School for Girls. And then later he became the sixth pastor of Second Congregational Church. And James Dean lived right where the courthouse is. So it's cool. They were neighbors, they were friends, they were colleagues. And they were very curious. And it was that intellect and passion, which really came from their hearts, that drove them to question and dig deep for answers to their extraordinary discoveries. Their ability to act locally changed the world's awareness of two animals, the tiny little honeybee and the gigantic dinosaur. I just continue to be amazed that these guys lived here at the same time. I mean, what are the chances, you know? They were friends, they were curious, and they talked to each other. Without that relationship, they may never have spurred each other on to their discoveries. It's really quite literally one of Greenfield's finest stories, and I hope that you all embrace it and learn more about it. So clearly we couldn't build this stunning parking garage that Margot and Simenes were involved with without putting a stake in the ground for the major breakthroughs that took place right under our feet. The challenge of how to honor these guys loomed large. When we talked with Mayor Martin in January with this idea that perhaps we would create a pocket park, he was quite enthusiastic. In urban planning, there's a model of incorporating so-called sacred spaces, and they reflect the happenings and the important things that happen within a town that make it unique. Poet Seat is one, Green River is one, Highland Park is one, and I'm sure you have others. And happily the mayor was enthusiastic about this idea. Without his support, that tribute would absolutely not be there. So you can read all about the impacts of dinosaurs and bees on the beautiful signs down below in the pocket park as you walk through it. And we hope that you do follow the fresh dinosaur tracks right out of the garage that lead to Bank Row. It's kind of like Elvis just left the building. You can follow them right along. And we now want to know who we thank for this wonderful display. So I would like Sarah, Allison, and Tor to please come up front here with me. The artist's job, yep, and you can clap a little bit too later. So the artist's job is to engage with people to invent ways to more meaningfully symbolize what was sacred in the past, to represent what nourishes spirits of people, and what possibilities people can dream of for the future. So we engage these three artists to do just that. First, Sarah Doyle. Sarah, writer. She's writer and editor from Turner's Falls, and she has had a deep interest in science and local history for some years. Since 2010, she's worked with the Jurassic Roadshow, bringing science, history, and art of the Connecticut River Valley's dinosaur footprints and trace impressions to street fairs, craft shows, and festivals. She was the perfect writer for the project, and we're so glad she said yes. Thank you, Sarah. Allison Wood is a graphic designer from Florence, and we kind of literally dropped in her lap text and photographs and images, and she put it all together in two beautiful signs that make the history very accessible for adults and for children. And we're very delighted with her designs that happened there. Oh, Margot, can you hold up that brochure? We have a brochure she also designed. It's all about Lorenzo Langstroth's life in Greenfield as he became the father of modern beekeeping, and we have several copies. If you want one afterwards, let me know. So thanks, Allison, for your good work. Another local connection that we have to Greenfield is the handsome steel display cases that were made by Small Corp. They make cases all over the world, and they're right here in Greenfield. So we're very happy that the signs these two guys worked on are right there. So thanks to Molly, Van, and Hoyt Wood. Finally, a crucial role of artists is to connect us to place, and we wouldn't be able to share the discovery of these critters without the artistic interpretation and gifts and talents of Tor Holbeck. Woo, you rock, Tor! Literally, right, literally. Tor owns Environmental Integration, a design company in Shelburne that fabricates and makes items that actually look real. He and his co-worker, David Moyes, made a large boulder with dinosaur tracks running all over it from actual tracks that we found in South Hadley, right? And he is fabricating currently a Langstroth beehive that will have a sculpted large bee on the top, as well as practical steps you all can take, and we all need to take, to save our pollinators. And they're easy things we can all do, plant flowers, with open faces, and there's a million things you can do, but do them, please, to help our pollinators. And then he's going to install a bicycle rack that's inspired by our own Dilophosaurus, and that will all happen soon. As a side note, I wanted to work with Tor since we started the Energy Park 20 years ago. That project didn't work out, but some things are worth waiting for, and this definitely is. So please give a huge round of applause to Tor Holbeck. So together, this talented team would also like to express our gratitude to a few more people. Two local artists, Will Sullen and Monica Vakula. Are you here? Are they here? No. They're not here. Well, we thank them anyway because they did wonderful work. They're wonderfully talented artists, and their artwork is on our signs down below. We, of course, thank Mayor Martin, MJ Adams, that ran our grants. Yay. Mark Smith. Are you here, Mark? No. Not here. And Lindsay Rowe in the mayor's office. Yay for help. Alan Turog and Rebecca Novak, where are you? There's Rebecca. And we thank them from the DPW. They were instrumental in making that park happen. And Pete Sickler, where are you, Pete? There you are. Woohoo! He's a general contractor. He's been here every day, and I know he loves Greenfield. He's a very, very patient man, and we are so, so grateful for your help. Thanks, Pete. So we met often to keep this project moving forward. And I'm enormously grateful that everyone was able to hold this vision and produce these really great results. So the moral of the story today is to act locally, play locally, create locally, and always, always, always collaborate with your neighbors because you never know what will happen. Thanks. At the end of today, I would like you to join us over here for some refreshments, but we have a few more speakers. Thanks. Thanks, guys.
Hi everyone, I'm Otis Wheeler, the Greenfield City Council, and I will be brief because I know that I am ready for some coffee. But I want to take a second here to acknowledge the mayor and recognize everything that he did to make this happen. I think we're in a unique vantage point here on the top of this garage to think about what things were like 10, 15, 20 years ago. 12 years ago, I worked on this block at GCTV, and at that time, Hope and Olive hadn't moved into the Polish Hall. The Zacchios hadn't rehabbed the Mix and Match building. There was no Oliver Transit Center. There was no passenger rail in Greenfield. The Geordie Herald had not rehabbed Bank Row. Hawks and Reed and the Pushkin had not been rehabbed. So this entire area that we can see from where we stand has really been transformed in a dozen years. And so I want to recognize the mayor, the Greenfield Redevelopment Authority, and everyone who's here, Secretary Ash, Representative Mark, the Baker administration in general, for everything that they've done to really transform one little block that has, I think, made a huge difference upon the downtown of Greenfield. And I think that it's one way to look at changing our town, is just block by block, one step at a time, incrementally. That's all that I have to say. I look forward as councilor to work with other people who have visions like this to make them happen one step at a time. And I want to introduce Paul Mark, who always seems to be everywhere, even though he's always driving from Peru, and I don't even know where that is. Representative Mark.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor. So I also have a very brief history lesson. I'm very sad that Mayor Martin can't be here today. Obviously, with the loss of his sister, it's really important that he is where he is, but he did so much work. But I really wanted to point out that November 9th, 2015, headline in the Greenfield Recorder, Mayor calls parking garage a doomed project. Today's November 9th. It was exactly 3 years ago today. As soon as we read that headline in the newspaper, former Senator Rosenberg and I realized we had to do something. We had to step in, and we had to try to help this town get to where it needed to be. And so with the generous help of Secretary Ash, who has been an outstanding partner in this project and in so many projects in the region, we pulled together town officials, we pulled together state government officials, and we did everything we possibly could, to make this project into a reality. And with the weight of the Senate President's office pushing that along, that can't be underplayed how important that it was. And here we are today, now celebrating this beautiful new facility. And as Councilor Wheeler was pointing out, I was looking around. This facility, look at where we are. This means access to justice, access to your government, access to transportation, access to fine food and dining and cultural activities, and access to economic development. And that's what government's about. Government's about bringing these things together, helping our people, making sure this city and this community and this region thrives. And I can't think of a better example than all the work that's been done in this area, culminating, I think, in this project today. This is just another reason for people to come here to Greenfield and see how excellent it is, spend time here, find parking here nice and easy, and enjoy what we have to offer, because there's so much here to offer. So thank you so much for having me here. I'm keeping these scissors to go into my office, and congratulations to the people of Greenfield.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Jay Ash. I'm the Secretary of Housing and Economic Development. I bring the greetings of the Governor and Lieutenant Governor, but I have a beef with the town of Greenfield. I have a beef. Lindsay wanted to hear what the beef was. My beef is that I paid $7.5 million for this garage, and I had to pay 50 cents to park across the street. Thank you, John. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. I'll be here all night. I thought for sure I was going to get a free parking space out of this deal. So, come right in. I'm going to say so many meaningful things that I want to make sure that this is heard. Philippe, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Number two, as I said downstairs, this is not my first ribbon cutting. This is not my first rodeo. This is the first time I've heard about dinosaurs and parking garages at the same event. Some of you may know that I am the former city manager of my hometown of Chelsea, and we had many a groundbreaking and ribbon cutting in Chelsea. We tended not to talk about what was in the ground when we were building on top of it. Those of you who know industrial age environmental sciences know what I'm talking about. But it's great that you're so proud of the history of Greenfield and the continued resurgence of a great place. I want to congratulate all of you for convincing all of us that this was a worthy investment. You see, to be honest with you, we don't build parking garages. Well, that's literal. We don't fund the building of parking garages, typically. And I say typically because when this project was first introduced to me, I said to Senator Rosenberg, who then appropriately called my boss, the governor, I said to Senator Rosenberg, we don't fund parking garages. And when I received the call from the governor, I said, yes, Governor, we can fund that parking garage. So there are primary people responsible for this, and the primary people would be that Stan Rosenberg had lots of things that he could ask for by virtue of his position. The thing that I always admired about Stan was he was always asking for others. I talked to Stan last week, and I congratulated him on this event. I reminded him how many times I said no, and he reminded me how many times he controlled my budget. So I congratulated him on this. This was a passion of his, and it's a really reason why the governor said to me that while we don't typically fund parking garages, isn't there a reason that we should here? And of course, all kidding aside, the political reason was an important part, but there are times when we say no to people who have titles. And that's when you're building something that isn't going to have an impact and it's going to cost a lot of money. This project is funded through our MassWorks program. So MassWorks is a kind of classic economic development tool. We provide public infrastructure support to then encourage private investment around the public infrastructure that's being created. So we have about $80 million a year to spend on infrastructure supports to promote economic development all around the Commonwealth. To spend 7.5 or to round up to spend 8, to spend 10% in one community is really tough when we love each of our 351 communities. Well, 350 almost as much as we love Chelsea, but that's another story as well. So the fact of the matter is that you had the right people, both the Senate President and the governor working together. And I'm going to touch upon that in a minute. But you had the right people, but you also had the right project. There's something happening here that you all know and that I get to see on my occasional visits into town. It's great to be up here. I'm so glad that we're up here because we can see what's happening. And you can look around. Anywhere you look, there's something that's happening. And central to a downtown, an important thing for an economic development secretary, an important thing to the governor, an important thing to our legislative partners and community leaders, central to a healthy downtown is the ability to, frankly, park in the downtown. And this facility, notwithstanding the 50 cents that I had to spend across the street for the meter, will provide the parking that will support everything that you have going on and create so many other opportunities. And I congratulate you all for coming together and figuring that out. I congratulate you all for convincing your then state Senate president, who then convinced the governor and me that this was a valuable investment. I congratulate people who also provided support. Representative Mark and Mayor Martin have been very important. I echo Representative Mark's comments that I wish that the mayor could be here. I saw him on Tuesday night. I told him, frankly, that he should cancel this event today. And he said, no, this was too important for all the people who contributed to this to cancel it. So it's an act of selflessness that the mayor said that this should go on without him. And I congratulate him. It's another reason why I admire Bill as much as I do. A reason why we're able to be here is you had a Senate president who's a Democrat, and you had a governor who's a Republican, who came together in a bipartisan spirit, who represents the bipartisan spirit that exists in the legislature and with the corner office today to provide the economic development resources so that we can do things like this around the Commonwealth. So during this past election year, thank you Greenfield, by the way, during this past election year, the Democratically controlled legislature gave the governor not one, not two, but all three of the economic development bills he filed during an election year, more than $3.5 billion in requests to do economic development around the state. I venture to say that doesn't happen in every jurisdiction, and certainly as we watch what happens on a national level, we wonder if Democrats and Republicans can come together and collaborate. But here in Massachusetts, we do it and do it well, and as a result, the good relations, the money that is produced from those good relations allows for us to come to Greenfield and say to Greenfield, congratulations on something really special. So on behalf of Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito, on behalf of the entire legislature who has provided us with the funds to go to the Greenfields of the world and invest in places that have real significant development opportunities before them, we congratulate you all for what you've done and know that this is not the last time that we will be here. We will continue to be here with you, looking to continue the work that you're doing around the revitalization of the community, around the growth of your businesses, and most importantly, around the prosperity of your people. So congratulations, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here today with you. I think that's it. And, Lindsay, do you want to close it out, or am I closing it out?
Close it out, I can close it out.
We'll close it out together.
We'll close it out together.
Okay.
Look at that. Look at that.
This is collaboration.
There
right
we
here.
go. Excellent. State, city,
State City.
city partnerships.
The
You gotta do
partnership?
it. All right.
I'm looking to partner on some chocolate cake
And
right
it's
now.
now time. There are amazing refreshments, and you gotta check out the cake before it gets cut. All right.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All of our productions at GCTV are sponsored in part by Bay State Health, providing the care you and your family need when you need it close to home. Visit them online at baystatehealth.org. Greenfield Savings Bank. Visit them at 400 Main Street in Greenfield. Call them at 774-3191 or go online to greenfieldsavings.com. Greenfield Community College, providing access and excellence in higher education in the Pioneer Valley. Visit them at gcc.mass.edu. The Hammond Family. The Hammond family are longtime supporters of Greenfield Community Television. New Fortune Chinese Restaurant on the Mohawk Trail in Greenfield. Visit them online at newfortunema.com. Call them at 772-0838 and check them out on Facebook. Real Cleaning Services, cleaning Hampshire and Franklin County since 1972. We don't cut corners, we clean them. Check them out online at realclean.com. Call them at 413-422-1143. People's United Bank, located at 45 Federal Street in Greenfield. You can call them at 774-3713 or visit them online at peoples.com. The Solar Store of Greenfield, replacing fossil fuels and nuclear power one home at a time. Visit them at 23 Fisk Ave. Call them at 413-772-3122 or visit them online at solarstoreofgreenfield.com. Thank you to our sponsors for supporting all of GCTV's productions.